Hello YouTube, this is Amisbro. How are we doing today? We're actually doing great over here. Because yesterday it was revealed that a certain Otome series has finally gotten their official website for their anime, which we have been screwing about for about a year. That anime? Code Realize, Guardian of Rebirth. Yep. And yes, I used the English title. Anyway, deal with it. This was a big deal. Especially for people like me who, for those of you who may have forgotten, got the Platinum Trophy and enjoyed arguably one of the best stories in the Otome visual novel genre. And to get to see that we're finally, after like a year, progressing to see Code Realize being turned into an anime is great. Now, we do have to ask the question, how many episodes is it going to be? Because there's no way on God's great earth that you are going to be able to do justice to everybody's story that is involved in the game. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be able to cram Abraham Helsing, Impey Barbicane, the Saint Germain, you know, Victor Frankenstein, Arsène Lupin, Sherlock Sholmes, Jimmy, as he's called, or James A. Alistair. You're not going to be able to cram all those stories into a 12 or 13 episode series, but they're going to try, I'll bet you. And that may be a recipe for disaster. I hope they get the original cast for the series. In other words, I hope they get Tomoaki Mano, Junichi Suave, and Shotaro Morikubo for the series. Because if you don't use the original voice actors, and I'm sure they will, but if they don't use the original voice actors, that's going to be a problem. Because we, the Code Realize fandom, who have been screaming to find out information about the anime, and we thought it was probably dead, we are finally getting what we wanted. And I'm going to say it here and now. It is going to be a master. I hope it's a masterpiece. Because let me explain something to you. One of arguably the best stories in gaming today, period, end of story, deserves to have its story told in full and done justice. Done justice with all the characters. The problem is they're probably not going to get everybody in. Like, I could see somehow if they do what I think they're going to do, they're probably going to give maybe 1 to 2 episodes per character to try and cram all their root stuff in, which is going to be hell, just trust me on that one, because there's a lot more to the characters than just this guy and Cardia. It's not going to work. You need time to really build up the relationship between the characters. Remember, in the game, you get about what was it again? I think it was like 10 to 12 chapters. I forget. I'll replay the game probably when we get closer to the anime, just to make sure that I'm abreast of and everything again. But you're not going to be able to fit all that story into one anime. You're just not. And when you have stories like, you know, Victor Frankenstein's, when you have, excuse me, Abraham Van Helsing, when you have Arsène Lupin, three of arguably the most emotionally powerful characters, and also Saint Germain. When you have these characters and you give them such an emotionally charged and powerful story, you have to find a way to do it justice. This is going to be the tricky part. And as we get closer and closer and closer to the day when the anime is coming, oh, you know there's going to be problems. You just know it. The reason I say there's going to be problems is because how the hell do you write this story? No, seriously. How do you take this game with such a powerful story, such an exquisite setting like Steel London, and how do you make it into what it should be? Because if you tell the story right, it's going to be what the game was. One of the most brilliantly written, one of the most masterfully voice acted visual novel otome games of our time. Period. Personal opinion. If you do this wrong, what you're going to have is just another otome anime. When you look at a series like, say, Udipre, and I have to use this one because it does share some of the voice actors from the series. When you look at Udipre, what did it do? It not only allowed you to be able to connect with the characters, it not only allowed you to hear the music, but it allowed you to really get emotionally charged and invested in each one of the units through its current 4-season run. This is the challenge. This is what Code Realize needs to do. And now that we have the website, we know the series is coming soon. It's got to. When is it going to be? I'm praying it is this year. Because if it's not, let's say it's next year, and let's say next year they also do Udipre, you're going to have a problem. You're going to have a very big problem. Because between those two, which one do you think people are going to probably watch the most, if there's a 5th season, and there more likely will be, of Udipre? Oh, trust me, the Code Realize fandom will watch it. But I'm worried more about the people that haven't gotten a chance to play the game yet because they don't own a Vita or whatever. I'm surprised that game hasn't been put on Steam yet for people to play. Has it? I don't think so. The interesting thing about the game, if you look up VG charts, last I checked, it still, I believe, has outsold the Japanese version. The English version of the game has outsold the Japanese version of Code Realize. That's pretty interesting. And it showed at that time that it hit a nerve with an audience in this country. And it needs to be able to do that now in animated form. Will it get to? I hope so. I hope we get to see the conflicts between Cardi and her band of merry men against the forces that you're going to meet in the anime. I will not tell you who they are. You'll have to wait until the anime drops. But what I'm going to say is this is going to be a very interesting time for the Code Realize fandom. We are getting closer and closer now. The realization that we are getting the anime that we have been promised for at least a year is coming. Now they have to fulfill the promise. And, much like the name of the fan disc, the future blessings of the series will be upon us. Now, I'm going to ask this question to you, my dear friends. Are you excited for the new Code Realize anime which will be coming out? And here's a question. What would be your dream scenario as far as when it releases? This year? Next year? If this year, which I don't think it will be, when would you want it? The end of the year? If it was next year, let's say it is next year, when do you want it? When would you want the Guardian of Rebirth to be reborn on the big screen? Let me know in the comments, because I would actually love to know what your thoughts are on this one, my friends. And you all have a good one. Take care.